Hey guys, it's Woody, and today is the CISPA Blackout Day. I thought I'd make a video, blacked out as you can see, that explains what CISPA is, why it's good or why it's bad, and now you can be for or against it, but at least you'll be an educated for or against it. So hopefully you like the video. Here goes. So there's a fair amount of people claiming that CISPA is the next SOAPA, that the Cyber Intelligence Sharing and Protection Act is the next Stop Online Piracy Act, but it's really not. The SOAPA, what that was about was taking the ability to make copyright claims and sort of, sending that out to companies. The trouble with that is that companies can't be trusted to make good decisions. Companies are in the job of making decisions that benefit themselves. And it allowed you to shut down websites, to shut down, YouTube channels or whatever, Twitter accounts, for saying things that these companies didn't like. Judges and juries should be making decisions like that, not companies. A company might decide to shut down Arab Spring. An oil company might decide to shut down, some democratic revolution somewhere. You can't trust companies to operate in the public interest. That's not what companies do. Companies operate in their own self-interest. CISPA is something different, so I'll explain that. The Cyber Intelligence Sharing and Protection Act allows companies to share information about you with the government without having to worry about any kind of backlash from the user. It protects companies like Google or DoubleClick, they're that big advertising company, or anyone who's been tracking your online behavior. It lets them share your activity with the government. The problem with it is that it seems like, in general, the government hasn't been respecting your online privacy in the way that they've respected your privacy in traditional mediums. The government needs a warrant to tap your phone. They can't just sit there and listen to your phone calls all the time. But they would really like to be able to read all your emails. Heck, I think they do. The government can't just open your mail and check all that stuff out before it gets to you. That stuff is private and it's protected, and it's a right of being a citizen that they're not allowed to just snoop on you unless a judge says, look, you should be tracking this guy. We have reasonable belief to think that he's doing the wrong thing. With regards to digital rights, it feels like more and more the government would just like to sort of skip the whole process. No more judges, no more warrants, no more anything. We would just like to big brother this stuff. And I've talked about this concept before, but even if you trust your current government to have these powers, you shouldn't give them these powers because there will be other governments in place that you don't trust. You might be a guy who loves Obama and thinks that under him, nothing bad will happen to you. Well, someday you'll have a leader who you don't trust like that. Or maybe you're a guy who doesn't trust Obama at all and feels that way right now. The trouble that I have with CISPA is that it just opens up your doors, and it's getting to be that your internet privacy is even more important than your telephone or your traditional like paper mail or snail mail privacy. The things that you do in your life over the internet are at least as crucial. That's where business happens now. That's where relationships happen now. That's where everything is moving to. And the government shouldn't be viewing this as, just the stupid internet. Or heck, they probably aren't. They probably know exactly what they're doing, but they shouldn't be invading your privacy online without the processes that were in place for your privacy offline. For those of you that don't know anything about the U.S. government, I'll give you a brief outline. For a bill to become a law, for it to actually mean something, it has to pass the House, it has to pass the Senate, and then it has to be signed by the president, unless he vetoes it, and then it has to pass the House and Senate by a lot. That's how it works. As it is now, it's already passed the House. The Democrats voted against it by a ratio of about 3-1, but it passed because the Republicans voted for it by a ratio of about 10-1. Next, it heads to the Senate, and it's a close call there. We don't know. If the same thing happens, the Senate, if you don't know, is made up about 50-50 of Republicans and Democrats. I think there's a couple more Democrats. So there is a fair chance that this thing will go through if the same sort of thing happens, where the Democrats are kind of divided 3-1 against, and the Republicans are overwhelmingly for it, 10-1 for. That's where it stands. So all I can do is make sure people know what the bill is. It's the ability for companies to share information with the government without any fear of backlash, without any concern for your privacy. I have been cyber attacked as much or more as anyone that I know. This bill would probably be good for me personally, but I still don't want it because it's wrong for America, according to me.